this is a incomplete food. And it's incomplete, which means that you become incomplete at the same time. It's just what it is. It holographs the same. Let's go to the next one. Rats become addicted to junk foods just like humans. These are all real studies. The fat rat. Huh? What is it? It's the microbes in inside, like a guy outside smoking a cigarette. He's not smoking, they're smoking. They're feeding. And then once you stop feeding these things, guess what happens? That person gains 10 pounds in a month, don't they? Why? Because the microbes that are inside there tell you now to feed it sugar. And the fuel is bad fuel, so it's like cheap fuel in your car and it kicks out exhaust, like when you go to Mexico over there and they put the cheap fuel and all the cars smell weird. Okay? This is the fuel if you put in your body. It's if you put cheap fuel in your car gets buildup and it needs what? A tune-up. If you put cheap fuel in this vehicle, then you need a tune-up too. The problem is our tune-ups are a problem because we get calcified. Oxalate poisoning. That's the huge, I always say, and a lot of people say, hey Robert, that's not cool to say. Well, it's true. If you really, really, really want to play this game, if you're over 30 years old, you have to do it full time. It's a DNA transformation. If you're between 18 and 30, you're a piece of cake. Body's still pretty clean. It hasn't been denatured, demineralized. It hasn't learned how to live with weird foods for 10 or 15 years. So the younger you are, as the tree, you can bend the tree. It's twig when it's young, but when it gets older, it's a little more difficult. So for me, I'm 50. I had to do this full time. I got into an auto accident. I got into a massive car accident. Broke my nose, my cheek. I broke my hand, pulled my nerve off my elbow, my shoulder, herniated 2 discs in my back, really bad, cracked 3 costal cartilage ribs here. So I was really, really searching to get I was one of the sickies. I wanted to get from dis-ease to ease. I don't care about anything else. Conscious and all that stuff is bull. I just want to feel better. Especially when you can't walk straight and you walk like this for 3 years, you're all crooked. And I was, practicing seeing patients, 30, 40, 50 people a day, and all of a sudden you get into an accident and that's it. You've got a hand in a cast for 6 months, got a broken nose with 2 surgeries, my nose is still crooked. And I went through massive searching. So let's say if someone has a disease here, aren't you in massive searching? Okay. So this was my disease at that time. I had a physiological breakdown. And after that you get physiological depression too, because now you can't do anything. Your whole system backs up. And it was, for me, just like for most people, it's the epiphany. Now what are you going to do to regain back your health? That's all that matters to you. It's all that matters to you. You're a billionaire, let's say. You're a billionaire. And now you've got this weird disease. You give all your money up, everything you've got, everything you've got to just get back your health, wouldn't you? You care less. So, on the other hand, let's say this young guy, he's going to do everything in his possible if he's a normal guy to try to get his wealth. And in time, he's going to spend all his money to try to get back his health. What a circle. Yeah, it's a little insanity. Let's go to the next one here now. Oh, actually, no, go back. Did you guys read this? In a fascinating new study, rats are found to react to junk food in the same ways that humans do. They become addicted and they become obese and can simply not go back to healthy food. From the article describing the new findings. Why? Because the creatures inside the body, they are the ones in control. Once you lose 51% of who you are, once you lose 51% of who you are, they are in control. Are you hungry or are they hungry? Are you hungry or are you thirsty? You're not hungry, you're thirsty. So next time you guys are hungry, you're not. Okay? You're thirsty. I want you to drink a big glass of water, mineralized water, and you say, Mom, I'm not hungry anymore. Because you weren't hungry. You have a thirst. And you didn't know because there's no manual on how to work this thing and how it's supposed to feel. So we're all, I don't like to use the word perverted from a young age, but we've all been bent in a direction that doesn't really make sense. And sometimes when we figure it out, it's a lot of backpedaling. I had to unlearn just about everything I learned from the system that I went ahead and spent lots of money to try to learn. Going to medical school, going to all these different schools, learning nothing. Nothing. Because if we were learning something, then we would understand that the body is a machine, and it's very simple if you keep it maintained like your car. Oh, sure thing. Let your car fall apart and try to fix it. That's not too smart. You got another vehicle, another body in your closet or in your garage? Your car smashes, what do? You just say, I'm going to drive the other car, I'll be back. This machine breaks, there's no spare parts really for it. But really, the idea is, see, once you understand that your body is really a machine, and all it needs is electricity. Because without electricity, those lamps don't light the light bulb. Let's go to the next one. Okay, how could anybody get this big?
Eating a lot.
How about they're not eating a lot, they're getting nothing. That guy right there and these two kids, they're getting nothing. You know who's feeding? Are all that stuff. All of those parasites, yeast, mold, and fungus. If you eat wheat, corn, and soy, you get yeast, mold, and fungus. It's a little song I put together.
How do you measure your level of toxicity?
Well, you can do it a variety of ways. Take your clothes off and do a visual in the mirror. And anything that you see over there where your skin is just paper thin, it's 7 layers, let's say, thick. It's very thin, 1 millimeter thick. Below that is the balloon called the lymph system. Remember, 3 times the amount of the value of the blood system. This is where the creatures live. This is where the pollution most likely is modulating all the internal structure. So the lymph system is the master filter. It's what it is. It's the master filter. So what do we do to keep it clean? So this is why we have all these different types of, have you ever heard of this? Metacardium, ethylene, diamine, tetracetic acid in the magnesium dipotassium form. Oh, does this work? What does it do? Exactly. What does it do? It binds to calcium, it binds to things that you're trying to get out of your body. Chelating means to clot, to grab it. Aluminum. First thing to take out of this is lead. Look up the studies. Magnesium, dipotassium, EDTA, and just put in, does it take out antimony? Click. There's thousands and thousands of studies on this stuff. I don't go for the zeolite stuff. Until they show me the clinical studies, bull, BS. I don't go for it. I mean, I'm a clinical scientist, basically, and unless you can sort of show me something to give it some type of physicality or proof, then really I'm not saying it's not true, it's just that I don't see it yet. So EDTA is a very proven way. I've taken about 2, 4, 6, I've taken 8, 9 pounds of ethylene diamine tetracetic acid, and if you read the label on it, you'll see that it'll give you cancer. It says right on the label, it's 2 labels. First one says, if you take this product in the state of California, it's known to give cancer. Look it up and see, EDTA. EDTA is in all your food. It's in your salad dressings. Why are they putting EDTA in your food? If it says right here, it's going to give you cancer. Okay, it's not the EDTA that gives you cancer. The EDTA is going to melt that stuff in your mouth. It's going to melt the back of your nickel watch that you're wearing. Who's wearing watches? What's the back of that watch? What is nickel? Super poison. Super poison. What comes out of the fuel in your car? They took the lead out in the 70s, right? Hippies were all, get that lead out. Okay, great. Your car doesn't run unless it has lubricity. What's lubricity? Lubrication. Gasoline is dry. So if they took out the lead, which was lubrication, lubricity, what do you think they replaced it with? You guys complained a lot about the lead. This is the system lords. They give us the fuel, they give us the food, they give us the power. Okay? So what do you think they put in? What's on the back of that watch? Nickel poisoning. Don't smell the smog. It's not so good. Living in the city, not so good. Why? Because you're breathing a bunch of toxicity all the time. So what do? You have to live on some form of a detoxification diet. This is the reason I drink the blue-green algae. This is the reason I drink all these fluids. This is the reason I use magnesium. These are the reasons being is because it's constantly swiping a little swath of garbage away from me. I used to send my pee-pee into the lab, okay? And I used to prove, because I wanted to prove to me. I want to see that this is true, that this is stuff that I'm taking is taking out things out of my body. So I know that it is. So I found out you can take these suppositories, you can go to the doctor and get EDTA chelation, it's $500 a treatment. You can drink it if you'd like, but once it hits the stomach acid, you lose about 60 to 70% of its effectiveness, or you can do an enema with it. And basically you get 100% effectiveness, same as if you injected it inside your blood. Now, we found out it's real simple. Unless you squeeze the tissues really hard, you can't get anything to come out. Sure, first couple times you take it, it cleans you really good. It cleans your kidneys and stuff, but most of the junk is magnetically bound in your tissues. Aluminum's in your brain, remember? Lead is in your gonads and all your glands, blocking everything up. And this stuff called bisphenol A is in bloody well everything. And this is one of the most important reasons. I tell people, these shoes are really cool. Want to get healthy? Get those shoes off your feet. Those shoes are terrible. Why? Because you're walking on sleds. Can you use your toes like these? You guys will like these shoes, man, I'll tell you. Okay, and you walk with your toes. So you could, your heart pumps. The heart pumps into this thing called an artery. It's a big tube, right? Biggest plumbing in the body is right there. It's the aorta. And then it goes into arterioles, smaller holes, smaller tubes. And then it goes into the hands and the feet. And it goes down to even smaller, and we call those capillaries. Now the capillaries are really small, real small. And if plastic, arsenic, thallium, heavy metal, and all that stuff gets stuck in there, and some of the stuff that gets stuck in there is because the sulfuric acid is nanobes and they block everything up with these things, okay? Then what happens is that your heart now can't pump its blood back around because your feet are plugged full of junk. Your hands, which are going to heart, arterial, big hole, artery, arterial, down to the capillaries, turns around, turns into a vein, or excuse me, a venule, goes to small again, and then it goes into a vein, comes back to the heart. It's a closed circuit. So it goes heart, artery, arterial, capillary, and it goes from capillary to venule, again small, and it goes bigger again to vein. And if the hands and the feet are clogged with plastic, you can't make the turnaround. You're clogged. Your gas filter has gas in the car, but the problem is the filter's got a problem. They won't let the stuff go by. So most people's feet are massively plugged. That's why all that acupuncture with the feet. How about your feet, your teeth, and everything all corresponds and all acts and works with each other. And if you're really looking to see, when you stand up, your feet have 200 pounds of pressure of mercury at the bottom of your leg. 200 pounds. I only have 5 in my head, standing. Okay? So we have some really cool things. I have this thing called the inversion swing. It's called the omnis swing. Well, we have that probably in about another couple weeks or so. And it's an anti-gravity, and you have to be careful. The older you are, the more you have to watch out because you can pop something by flipping yourself over, and now your feet have 200 pounds, but since you flipped over, now your head has 200 pounds. Whoa. And your feet only have 5 now. So most people can't do that because their head's going to pop, because they can't have, like your feet and your hands. You think you have capillaries in your brain? Yes, you do. And if it can't come back around again, it feels like your head's going to explode. It's because it's full of brain sand.